Czechoslovaks and the six-day trophy. They go together like Zatopek and a gold medal. Czechoslovak Jawa and CZ machines have again and again confirmed their quality. They have every right to the proud title, Motorcycles of Victory. Twice in succession, Czechoslovak riders have won everything there was to win. With the aim of repeating that for the third time, 26 Czechoslovak riders came to Bad Aussee in 1960. But Czechoslovak machines will carry many more riders than they. 39 others have chosen Jawas and CZ, including Axtholm, the first American in the whole history of the six-day trials. The stands of Czechoslovak parts and accessories manufacturers also attract increasing attention from year to year. It's always harder to defend a title than to win it. There are lots of rivals, and good ones too. English, German, Swedes, riders from the Soviet Union, Italians. So it's not hard to understand why the organizers chose a track that offers the most advantages to Austrian riders and machines. Their choice fell on Bad Aussee, mountain paths and narrow roads. This is typical of the unique conditions of the 1960 six-day trials. The town of Hallstatt, the oldest settlement in Europe. Even 3,000 years ago, at the beginning of the Iron Age, the residents of the town took up every inch of space. The track followed by their salt merchants wasn't much wider than today's road. Picturesque, tortuous little streets and steep stairs on the hillsides add to Hallstatt's attractions. But these charms of antiquity are not greatly appreciated by the riders in the six-day trials. A big battle awaits them at Bad Aussee. 290 riders lined up at the start. In the main contest of the trials for the international trophy, there were 9 competing teams of 6 riders each. From England, the German Democratic Republic, the German Federal Republic, the Soviet Union, Poland, Italy, Sweden, Austria, and Czechoslovakia. For an individual rider to win a gold medal in the trials is an honor equal to a gold medal in the Olympic Games in other sports. The total length of the track of the six-day trials measures 1,062 miles, and the rules require that it includes several difficult cross-country sections. It was evident on the very first day that the organizers had set stiff time limits between the individual checkpoints. High speeds were necessary on narrow roads. The worst part of the first day was the climb up the Großglockner to a height of 8,100 feet. The biting wind and rain made it very tough going. But more dangerous than the weather was the heavy automobile traffic on the contest track. Several drivers paid for this later. At the end of the first day, 7 teams fighting for the international trophy remained without penalty points. The rain faithfully accompanied the riders on the second day, and again, the narrow track posed the greatest danger. Here, the only thing to do is to patiently wait for the train to pass and then try to make up for lost time. Only 6 teams rode into Hallstatt without penalty points. This year, for the first time, going without penalty points was not enough to gain a rider a gold medal. He had also to win 1,500 auxiliary points in special tests. One of those tests is beginning here, the mountain speed test on the Selke Pass. For the best speed over the distance, the rider obtains 360 points. The others win a proportionate number of points according to their times. The climb up the Selke Pass is 2,275 feet long. The riders have to maneuver over a stony serpentine track through a thick fog. Often they could not see 5 feet ahead. The Czechoslovak riders came through with flying colors. They're at home on a cross-country track. They completed the Selke Pass test in good time. Beneath the Selke Pass, fog alternated with mud, but the narrow track remained. Now there are only 3 teams without penalty points: the Austrians, the Czechoslovaks, and the Swedes, with last year's champion of Europe in the motocross in the lead, Tiblin. Behind Tiblin comes Czechoslovakia's Matejka. And another climb. The 4th day of the trials, and Czechoslovakia is in 3rd place. Polanka picked up 1 penalty point at the start. That doesn't mean anything yet, because the riders still face the 2 most difficult cross-country sections. And it is cross-country riding that decides the outcome of the 6-day trials. The riders come through this exacting alpine test with excellent scores. The great majority pass through all the checkpoints within the time limit. For their scores and for the nervous tension that they are under the whole day, they all deserve reward. Now the Austrians remain without penalty points. They know tracks like this. And here is the beginning of one of those sections that will decide the outcome of the trials. But between the riders on the track and the people behind the scenes, there is a big difference. It begins down on the narrow, mud-covered road. The machine of the Austrian Schall is stuck in the mud. Kelly of England goes around him, and here comes the Czechoslovak Rataj driving through like a master. Czechoslovaks in their blue crash helmets in general were the best riders. Look at the difference in riding right here on this section of the track. This is Polanka of Czechoslovakia, and this is Donauer of Austria. The higher they climb, the worse the going becomes. The German Abt, behind him Bartolo of Italy. And two more Italians, Spiga and Masserini on Gilliatt. This section of rocky and muddy road, frequently blocked by exhausted riders, this was the hardest test. To force your heavy machine to the very top, only riders in the best of condition could do that. The riders fell again and again, and again they mounted their motorcycles and fought their way on through all obstacles. Many riders come to grief here, break down exhausted. But there's never any question about the fine physical condition of the Czechoslovak and Soviet riders. The Austrian riders fared much worse in the tough cross-country test. Number 40, member of the Austrian trophy team, Stulberger. Another Austrian, Kebel. Spectators almost carried him in his machine, a poop. A third member of the Austrian trophy team, Dornau. In these sections, the Austrians picked up a nice collection of penalty points. None of the Czechoslovaks are given any. It is clear that Klimt and the others gained the victory here. Another Czechoslovak, Pekar. The spectators gather around too. They pull the heavy English machine to the top with a cable. Only a few got through this cross-country section without penalty points. The least number were gathered by the Czechoslovaks. The international trophy is within grasp. Here is the finish line at the airport at Zelzweg. There remains only the 1-hour speed test. But so far, there are no official results. For the first time in the history of the 6-day trials, it is not known at this point in the trials who won the international trophy and the other contests. The riders have finished their job, but the organizers of the trials have not yet read off the results. They are in no hurry. Some gentlemen have begun to think, if that toughest cross-country section is canceled, the Czechoslovaks will not be first. In the meantime, the riders have lined up for the start of the final trial. The Czechoslovaks have decided to take this test in a dependable way without unnecessary risks. Riders and machines fight the last battle on the 1.75 mile concrete ring of the Zelzweg Airport, a battle in sport. And at the same time, another battle has begun behind the scenes. And that ended with victory, too. The track organizers have to announce the results. "22 out of 26 Czechoslovak riders have won gold medals. And the main thing, the international trophy, again goes to Czechoslovakia. But not yet. They are still discussing. They are still thinking about canceling the severest cross-country section. The actual results of a tough battle in sport have been forgotten. Other interests have won, interests that have nothing to do with sport. The cross-country section has been canceled. The results are changed by the men behind the scenes. But the moral victory remains with Czechoslovak riders and Czechoslovak motorcycles, even though their victory at Bad Aussee has not been recognized with the official trophy. The Czechoslovak Jawa and CZ motorcycles have again proven their quality. They have every right to the title, Motorcycles of Victory.